Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Brown's Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, but you can call me Grizzer. And this is where you can get caught up on some of the latest news and tidbits that are tied to our favorite team in the NFL. That is, of course, the Cleveland Browns. Thank you to everybody who has liked our previous episodes, who has subscribed to the channel. We inched a little bit closer to 9,000, almost there. We'll change the fit when we get there for just one show. Thank you to everybody who have become members of the Browns' latest dog pound. Wait, let's see. Wasn't it? Browns' latest dog pound. One more time. Browns' latest dog pound. Stuck on touchdown Browns because that's how many we're going to just keep scoring on Sunday. That's what we're going to do. And thank you to everybody who got your comments down here in the viewer comments. You know, timing is everything. And that's the thing with this ball. I never know what it's going to do. But, I mean, I like having it. But I just never really know what it's going to say until we find out together. But wasn't ready to bark today, I guess. But we'll try it again. All right, coming up on today's show, the running game gets a big boost heading into the Ravens game. That's good to hear. You're going to be shocked when you hear who had the highest PFF grades for the Browns against Cincinnati. I was in the kitchen all morning, and I have come up with the perfect recipe to beat Baltimore on Sunday. And then down in the viewer comments, one of our viewers found a member of the Browns organization who couldn't find a hole in a donut. We'll find out what that's all about, too. But first things first, let's do this, the schedule. Today, the early practice at noon, we'll hear from quarterback coach Bill Musgrave and the quarter and corner. The two hardest positions to say back to back. Let's put them together in a press conference. Quarterback coach and cornerback coach. And then tomorrow, of course, walk through Sunday, we're at Baltimore, the home of crab cakes. Places like an Under Armour. Under Armour in Baltimore. That's where Under Armour is. Somebody once told me that. But the big news of the day is Judkins is back. And he looked good. He's out there. He's taking part in all the drills and doing everything. He looks really good physically. And so, you know, the question now is, will he play on Sunday? I mean, if I'm the Browns, I'm not telling anybody anything. The Ravens don't need to know that. They're not going to tell us. There's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. I'm saying there's a chance. We'll see. Here's what Tommy Rees says. Let's go to the guy who may have some insight on this situation. And the offensive coordinator says we're going to take it day by day to see how he continues to progress in practice. It takes some extra work to make sure that we can catch him up after a Wednesday practice, but Thursdays and Fridays are really pivotal days throughout the week. So today will probably be a telling day for whether or not we'll find, if Judkins is going to play or not. Today will be a big day. So he's got. I mean, I don't see why they couldn't give him. I mean, he's big. He was here up until June. I mean, it's not like maybe they could give him a couple 2-3 plays. Give him what they gave Ford last week. Let Sampson run RB1 and let Judkins run RB2. Something like that. I mean, why not? The biggest risk is getting him hurt. You don't want to throw him out there and then he pulls a hammy and then you're screwed the rest of the season. So that's the thing. I think that to me is the biggest concern is just rushing him out there, and the speed of the game and the intensity, and it's Baltimore and it's on the road and all these other factors that go into it. You get hyped up. Next thing you know, you pull a hammy and you're in Vegas with Kenny Pickett. So, all right. Now, I was shocked when I saw the PFF grades when they came out for the Cincinnati game. Not because, how high they were or anything. It was the positions that graded out, especially the offense. And then there was one big surprise on defense. And so let's walk through this. Let's go through the offensive surprise. When you run the ball for 40 yards or whatever we did the other day, 50 yards, you don't expect to see this. Linemen leading the way, both guards, Bitonio and Teller. So Pro Football Focus, they're determined, they have analysts. and they evaluate every player on every play using a scale -2 to +2. 0 is the expected outcome. So you start at 0. If you do something good, you get 2 points. You do something bad, you get -2 points. Simple as that. And then they use a 0 to 100. They compile the scores, and it's a 0 to 100 scale. A 60 is considered average, while grades in the 80s are considered to be good, and 90s are considered to be elite. Now remember that. Tuck that away. 90s are elite. Tuck it away. But there you go. I mean, we've got guys who are good, and we've got guys who are in the 70s. They didn't give us but I mean, better than being in the 60s. Look at old man Joe. I mean, he was not the problem on Sunday. We all know that. And then look at this. Rookie Dylan Sampson, 70. Pochik, the center. So 3 out of our 5 offensive linemen graded out the best for the Browns on Sunday. So that's what I'm saying, folks. I showed you those pictures yesterday. Like, there were holes, man. It just depended on who was in there. It's going to be different, I think, this week. I mean, it's still, we could. Jerome Ford. Well, we'll see. Now Judkins is back. Like I'm saying, give him something. Now, here's another surprise, though. Let's flip over to look at Ced Tillman, 60.8. Now, let's flip over to the defensive side, okay? Because this is what surprised me. It's not who's at the top, who's at the bottom of this list. Here you go. Look at Schwessinger, elite. 90. He led the team in tackles. Rookie, first game ever in the league. Grades out at 90. That's considered elite. Then I can say McGuire. We've been talking him up for, 6 months. And then Devin Bush. It's going to hurt when we lose him, when this court case plays out. Greg Newsome, who's playing for a contract. I told you, contract year. 76, Alex Wright. But then look at that. The $60 gazillion man. Alex Wright beat him out. Wright got a 72.8, Myles Garrett a 72.1. So, I mean, it's good to see Myles Garrett at least in the top 6. Don't get me wrong. And plus, I'm sure, he's got double teams and all kinds of things to deal with, when every time he steps on the field. So, but that just goes to show you, man, like this defense is going to keep coming together and just keep getting better and better every week. Now, speaking of that, we're going to need the defense. And I went into the kitchen. Is that where you come up with recipes? I know that's where you make the stuff. But I don't know. That's what I did. I went into the kitchen and I said, all right, I got to come up with a recipe for us to win on Sunday. And here's what I came up with. Well, listen, I know everybody thinks that Baltimore dominates Cleveland, but they don't. You know, the Browns have won 4 of the last 7 matchups. So only one, though, in Baltimore since 2020, from what I'm being told. Now, listen to this, though. Here's the good news. In 7 games against the Browns, now this is 5 with Tennessee and 2 with Baltimore, Derrick Henry averages 56 yards a game. That's 4.3 per rush. And this is what I was talking about the other day. And some people were trying to rail on me in the comments. Oh, you can't give up 4 yards a carry to Derrick Henry. That's going to be a first down every time he touches the ball. What I'm saying is you got to keep him under control. Keep him under wraps. You can just don't let him get those big gash plays like he did against Buffalo. Just let him earn every yard. That's what I'm saying. 56 yards. So we have a good history against him. When Grant Delpit was asked, how hard is it to tackle Derrick Henry? Grant Delpit, all he said was, not hard. And then they asked Jerry Jeudy, they're like, hey, what challenges do you have going up against the Baltimore defense? He said, no challenges. I like the confidence. That's where it starts, folks. They got to have that mindset going in. Don't sit there and talk them up. Just blow off the question and move on. Okay, now to the recipe, all right? Enough of my digression. All right, here's if these 3 things happen, we're winning. There's no doubt about it. First of all, turnovers. We got to force some. We got to get them. I mean, we saw what they did to us last week. We've got to get those turnovers. Remember, they talked about it all summer. We even talked about it last week, turning those pass breakups into interceptions or the PBUs into INTs. That stuff's got to happen. Or like a strip sack, a fumble. When Jackson starts scrambling around back there, you got good. Somebody can get a lick on him. He carries that ball like a loaf of bread. Knock it out of there. And when we get the ball, it's got to be control and clock, just like we said. It's the same recipe as last week in a lot of ways. You wanted to keep Burrow and Chase and Higgins off the field last week. Well, you want to keep Jackson and Henry and Flowers off the field this week, and control Henry. Like we talked about it the other day. I think you have options here of what you want to take away and then limit. You can limit Jackson. You can limit Henry. You can take away Henry. I mean, you could Flowers is going to be a non-factor because Newsome or Ward's going to lock him up. But DeAndre Hopkins, come on. Whoever doesn't have Flowers, the other one's going to have Hopkins. And so Hopkins he'll be out of the game. Like, you won't even see him, just like Jamar Chase last week. Dude, if we could shut down Chase and Higgins like that, come on. Like, those are the two best in the conference and maybe the AFC. That might be the best tandem. And we shut them down. And so anything after that, come on, give me a break. So maybe we can't focus on Henry. Just man up and focus on Henry, and we will rise to the occasion on Sunday. Also rising to the occasion. See what I did there? The viewer comments. And we'll start with Tim Green, who says he agrees with me on Jerome Ford. Says he reminds him of Pierre Strong. Somebody else I said we needed to get rid of. He says Pierre Strong couldn't find a hole in a donut. So there you go. I agree, Tim. I mean, after watching the tape and seeing what I see and pointing out, the other day, the gigantic holes that he was missing in the offensive line. Some people were coming on me, okay, here's Quincy Jones. Okay, here's the next comment. Quincy Jones, 97-39. He says, the hole wasn't there. If he cut back, he will get demolished by the end, crashing down. No, you got to see the whole play develop. You got to watch the film. Because if he waits so long, if he makes that initial cut, he's got at least 5 yards. At the very least 5 yards. And if he can make the end miss, he's got more. And so that's what Sampson saw the hole, cut the hole. And his hole wasn't even near the size of the hole that Ford had. But it was a zigzag. He cut into the hole and then cut back again. That's how the zone works. Sometimes you need 2 cutbacks to get to the clearing. But he got 7 yards versus Ford's -1. Give me that all day. Give me 5 yards over -1. Anything. But running into the back of the tackle and the guard does nothing for anybody. He doesn't have any vision. Beans, 5936. I mostly used it because I like the YouTube handle Beans. It's a good handle. Sorry, but the head coach just doesn't know how to put plays together for the weapons that he has. Get rid of the coaches in front office. If not, the Browns are always going to lose. Now, here's the thing, Beans. I said it. I can't hate on the play calls and what we did. They said the Bengals were playing a lot of too high, so it took away the deep passes. They were afraid of Flacco flinging. So we'll see what happens this week because I think Flacco will want to fling it against his old team. But that was part of it. But I think the game plan worked. Listen, and we've talked about it. It is so hard to win in the NFL, and you never know how these games are going to go. They are so crazy sometimes. However, the game, you end up at the end with a chance to win, you win. That's how it works. That's what the NFL wants. That's why all these games come down to the last 2 minutes. That's why they're always bouncing around at the end of the games to all the other games because they're all, they're inside 2 minutes and somebody's on a potentially game-winning or game-tying drive. That's what the NFL wants. And in my opinion, that's why you see all these crazy calls at the end. I think the refs are in on it. I think they make sure that these games, if there's a chance for a game-winning field or goal or a game-tying field goal, send it to overtime or anything like that, the refs make calls. It becomes a WWE. The refs make calls to ensure that happens. It's still entertainment, folks. It's still a show. And so that's what I'm saying. I thought what we did the other day against the Bengals on Sunday was perfectly fine. It was perfectly fine, the game plan. So, Beans, love your YouTube handle, but can't get on board with the take. Elshawn loves picking on me, but I don't care. I love it. He says, remember I said we should bring in Shador and use him as our secret weapon, our gadget weapon, our Wildcat, whatever. Call whatever you want. But I'd rather see him in the Wildcat than, it wouldn't be a Wildcat because he's a quarterback. But list him as a tight. I don't care. Like if we can't have him on there as a quarterback, then make him something else and bring him in as the wild cat. But I said he's got 4.7 speed. Okay, compared to Dylan Gabriel's 5.1 and Flacco, who knows, 6 maybe. Alshon says you act like 4.7 is fast. That's not fast at all for the NFL, especially not if he's only 200 pounds. Also, Dylan ran a 4.6, so stop hating on Dylan Gabriel. They ran around the same speed. No, that is 100,000,000% unconfirmed, Alshon, because there is no official time on Dylan Gabriel. He wouldn't even run at the combine. Do you know why? Because they didn't have a sundial. So he said, well, then I guess you can't time me because that's what you're going to need to time me. I have done a lot of research on this, Alshon. He cannot run fast. So, and that is why you don't see any 40 times on him. It's because he doesn't want that knowledge public, at least coming into the pros. Why would you? You don't want that in a league where that's the cheat code, especially in fantasy football, quarterbacks that can run, so no. He does not run a 4.6. Not even close. Not even close. So I did a whole show on Dylan Gabriel in the running. I did a whole show on all of them like months ago. So go back and look it up, Alshon. I love your takes, though, man. I do love your takes, but man, we're not on the same page on this one. We're gonna end this with Scott Coaster 6668, and I 100% was thinking the same thing. He says, watch Holy Schmidt will kick the game-winning field goal on Sunday. He'll go from 0 to hero in one leg extension. And hey, man, stranger things have happened. And this is the NFL where strange things happen all the time. And for our sake, I really do hope that happens. That would be phenomenal. Just for his confidence and for the psyche of the fans and everybody else. Like, if he could come in and knock one through in Baltimore for a win, I will take it. Now, I would prefer us winning 56-2, like we were, against the Bengals. I would take that. But if it came down to a game-winning field goal, that's fine. I would be all for it. Scott Coaster, I was thinking the same thing. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Here we go. Wait. Dog bark? Man, maybe it's broken. There it is. How about the song? There it is. All right. Yes, I saw Brownie the Elf at the Guardians game yesterday. He was running around with the hot dogs in the hot dog derby. He didn't win, but he was running with them. It was a whole thing they did. But anyway, I digress. All right. Hey, tomorrow, the Predictor Pen is back. We will let the Predictor Pen make some more predictions about Sunday's game and then the rest of the season. Don't want to miss it. And then Sunday's the game. We'll be here Sunday too. Don't worry. We'll have our keys and what to watch for and everything for you on Sunday morning. Thanks so much for joining us. Go Browns! We'll see you next time.